I'm going to walk through the pre-lab, or part 1 of the Identifying Biological Compounds lab with you now. All right, you should have gone to the link in your course homepage in the content module for this lab. You would have enabled Adobe Flash Player. You would have opened this as an external resource. And now we're going to begin the View the Tutorial, which is the pre-lab part. To choose your gloves, I like blue. I don't know why, it doesn't really matter. So I chose blue. All this part does for you is walks you through all of the different functions of your virtual lab situation. I like to start off by zooming all the way out. Oh, okay, so this is very guided. So I just placed my mouse over these 4 arrows. Where's the other arrow? Okay, click on the gear to show or hide the menu. That's this. If you don't want to see that anymore, you don't have to mess with it. Click on the resize icon to change to and from full screen mode. So that's this. I don't like to mess with this too much. Do what you want. Click on the lock icon. So scrolling is this. If this is scrolling, right? So if you want to lock it down and you don't want to scroll anymore, you can't move it around, which is helpful if you're trying to do something in a small space and you keep hitting these little arrows. There you go. I'm going to turn that back on. The speaker icon turns the lab audio on or off. You won't hear it on this pre-lab because I don't want to hear it, but that's this. Drag the bar toward the magnifying glass on the left to zoom out. So here's the bar where you get to see the whole picture, or you zoom in quite far. So I'm going to take a minute here and zoom out for you. I like to zoom out because then you can see the whole picture. So I'm going to show you where everything is on the top shelf as soon as it lets me get done with this tutorial part. Click on the home icon to reset the lab. If you click on this, it's going to say, okay, well, are you done?
Many of these chemicals are harmful and should be handled carefully using gloves and goggles.
Okay, so many of these chemicals are harmful and should be handled carefully using gloves and goggles.
Remember to use clean pipettes when needed. Do not use a pipette for more than one specific kind of solution, since it will not have been properly cleaned.
That's really important. The pipettes are going to be what you're using to transfer solutions, or I should say indicators or solutions into your clean test tubes. So you do need to only use clean pipettes. Don't use them more than one time. I'll show you what a pipette is here in a minute.
Place a full pipette of water into the water test tube.
So a pipette is just a squeezy ball, right? So you can transfer water or whatever from one thing into another. They're going to make me go through this whole thing, but I'm going to do this. I want you to look on top here. This is where you'll find all of your solutions and indicators. Here's the vegetable oil, water. This is milk behind this bubble. Starch, iodine, sodium hydroxide, and copper sulfate. Remember, you have to put these 2 things together as indicators. Then Sudan 3, albumin, and your unknown. Albumin is egg white. Egg white. Eggs, the whites. Okay. The unknown, I'm not telling you what that is. You've got to figure that out. But if you notice here, you've got all these stations set up with where you have to put your test tubes. The first part is the pre-lab portion is just we're going to be following through these steps, and she's going to tell us what to do. So if you look here, it says starch control, which is water, and test for starch. So we just put water in the first one. Now it wants us to put more water.
Place a full dropper of starch solution into the starch solution test tube.
So we just put water into the control. Now we're going to put the sample into the test for starch. Okay, so water and the sample, the control and the experiment.
Add 1 dropper of the iodine solution into the starch solution test tube.
She wants us to put it into this, 1 dropper.
Add 1 dropper of the iodine solution into the water test tube.
Okay.
Observe the color of the starch solution test tube and the water test tube. A dark blue or black color for the starch solution indicates that starch is present. You have reached the end of the tutorial. You may now continue with the rest of the lab.
Okay, so now for the rest of my tutorial in PreLab. Look at these 2 colors. Yeah, you can even pick it up if you want and hold it against the wall. This looks like a brownish, but, look at the iodine. That's what you want to compare it to. The original indicator is colored, okay, and you've put it into water. So it might become a little bit lighter in color because you've added it to water, but look at the difference when you added it to the starch solution, okay? The starch solution was clear. You added brown to clear, just like you added brown to water, except it turned purple. Okay, so there's been a color change between the brown to the purple. Look here at the next couple of setups. Protein control water, that's only going to have water in it, and then this is where you put the solution for protein. Now, the solution for protein that you're going to add in is the albumin. It says that in your procedural steps. The lipid control will only be water. The test for lipid will be vegetable oil. Okay, it goes in the lipid tube. So for the protein, you're going to add these 2 solutions together as indicators into these 2 tubes. For the lipid, you're going to use Sudan 3 into the test for lipid, both tubes. And then this is where you do your unknown. There are 3 test tubes for the unknown. That means you don't put water in here. No water in here. You need to put the unknown into all 3. Squirt, 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 okay? Because that's the unknown. And then you put the indicator for starch, which is iodine, and you put that in here. You put the indicators for protein, which are these 2 together, in here. And then you put the Sudan 3 for lipids into this 3rd one. And then you compare these colors, if there are any, to what you've already done. So don't dump your solutions down the sink unless you plan to redo them right away, because you're going to want to compare them. So that's the unknown. And then the milk, please pay attention to what color milk is. So here's a stirring rods. You got to use clean stirring rods when you move things around. And then the milk pipette is only for milk. So please notice, although you already know this, what color is milk when you put it in the test tube, okay? So when you do that, it's white. It's not the same color as water. So you're going to add in iodine, and it's going to still be brown, but it's not going to be see-through. And then sodium hydroxide, copper sulfate together, and then Sudan 3 in the last one. So when you do this, you're going to see, because it was white, not clear, it's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to stir and then discard it. Stir and discard it. Get a new one every time and discard it. Oopsie, so I did the last one with you, okay? That's the milk. You're going to do the same thing. But I want you to just realize that when you put milk originally in there, it's not clear. So it's going to be a little bit different when you're describing the colors. All right, I think that's it for the PreLab. You don't even do this part for the PreLab. I'm just stepping ahead so I can just do the different lab with you later. All right, so you've got, I've gone briefly over what to do. I'm going to go over this in class with everybody today. But if you want to work independently and work ahead, or if you've already done and you want to check yourself, then you're welcome to work independently in the class in a breakout room. It's going to be fun. I'll see you in class.